Hi everyone, my name is Robert Keogh. I am the Director of Technology and Product here in SmartTech 247. And today we're going to discuss AI in food and agri business. And I have the pleasure of being joined with the very talented Andre. So maybe Andre, over to you. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Andrei Constantinescu and I'm the Quality Assurance Manager from the SOC department in Romania, Bucharest. So basically, I've been in the company for the last 6 years, and right now my main goals are to maintain the highest quality within our SOC department in terms of all the CMs, VDRs, security awareness training, and I think the key topic right now is to maintain the top quality of our AI usage within the SOC department. So Robert, thank you for having me in this meeting.
Definitely a pleasure to talk to you again. You have one of the most interesting jobs in the whole company because you get to see the real like front end of like the bleeding edge of all of the threats that are out there. But I guess let's get straight into it and kind of like start. Oh, I would just to mention also, if there are any questions from the audience, please just add them as comments in the chat. And we have Emily in the chat who is monitoring that and will let us know of any questions. And with that, maybe Andre, just a quick icebreaker. So maybe you could tell us what is a recent and surprising AI use case that you have encountered?
So I will talk about the general use case and not the food and agriculture side of the aspect. What we've seen lately, at least in our SOC, is that attackers are leveraging more and more AI to find tag vectors. So what they're basically doing, they are leveraging AI to read large amounts of documents, for example, and to understand what are the limits of the security tools right now. So if we are talking about non-next generation CMs, for example, legacy CMs, the AI will be able to and will be capable of understanding the thresholds of the rules. So, for example, you're having let's say a dictionary brute force attack, and you're having multiple logging failures. The AI will understand based on HCM's documentations, which are the threshold for that particular events. So, like this is a small examples. We can go even deeper, but again, we are going way deeper in terms of the technological aspect. But this is the main idea. It helps them understand what are the dead ends, right? How can they go near the security tools? So this is quite interesting because we tackle this on a daily basis within our SOC, and basically it keeps the entire SOC operations on fire right now. I'm guessing this is a worldwide issue, to be honest.
Absolutely. Interesting that you mentioned about like the AI use, of them consuming documents. Just last week, ENSA, so the European Agency for Cybersecurity, kind of released their 2025 threat report, and they specifically called out AI in the food and agri business, where bad actors, in particular, they didn't say which country, but you can imagine in Asia, very large company, very large country, was using AI to effectively they were trying to steal the IP from these food and agri businesses in order to, shall we say, use it in their own countries. So kind of, yeah, again, a very interesting use of AI. But I guess, like in a more general sense, for AI in cybersecurity and kind of like the good uses of AI, it's been an interesting journey especially in the food and agri business, where I remember a few years ago, like there was all this buzz about blockchain in particular, and how blockchain was going to secure the use of food, and ensure that there was no counterfeits and that there was no like anomalies with like insertions of not approved foods effectively, not approved ingredients and sources, so that no tampering. But now this is all switched to AI, which I think is going to do a much better job than blockchain. at this particular problem just because of the complexity of it. It is something as well, I guess, that the European Union, through like regulation of both AI and also other regulations, have also tried to tackle. I know this is a topic you're quite interested in this EU regulation. So maybe you could, Andre, give us a little bit of insight about the EU AI Act and NIS and the various regulations on the EU side.
So thank you for raising this. Now, in terms of the EU AI Act, what we've seen is that it categorizes this entire sector within the high-risk areas of use case implementations. So in terms of use cases, for example, we can discuss, let's say, I don't know, automated food quality inspections, right? Predictive crop analytics, livestock monitoring, supply chain optimization, for example. And in terms of compliance, we can go even deeper for this EU AI Act and go further and discuss more about, I don't know, model transparency, safety standards for this particular sector, or even protection of consumer and environmental data. Now, what I really like here is that even though we are having the EU AI Act, on the other side of the balance, you have the NIS2 directive, right? And even though they are not the same, they are kind of balancing each other as a load here. And I can give actually a couple of examples here. So for example, in the EU AI Act, there is a major requirement to monitor post incidents. So we are talking about serious incidents involving AI systems. So this is well designed in the EU AI Act. And then you have the NIS2, which is coming and saying basically that you have to have at least an early notification warning within 24 hours. You have then to have a detailed report within 72 hours. And then I'm guessing it's the final report that should be done within 1 month, right? So this is pretty interesting because I'm guessing one will work with the other, right? They are best friends right now. Also, in terms of the AI Act, it's well stipulated that, for example, there are imposed obligations in terms of monitoring the components, the AI components. So we are talking about the providers and the importers of the AI components, whatever technology uses AI. And basically then comes NIS2 and extends the security obligations for such providers. So as you can see, if we tackle both points, they are in tandem and they work in tandem one each other, which is great. I really like that. And also you've discussed about the threat landscape, right, of AI in food and agriculture. And a couple of days ago, I was scrolling the internet and I was seeing that there is an entire documentation that has been published within the European Parliament. And it's called, I think, Artificial Intelligence in the Agriculture Food Sector. And basically, it takes the entire approach on the AI and digitalization, for example, of not only the food, but it specifically says most on the crops. So it talks about crop physiology. So we are talking about processes that drive, I don't know, the crop growth, the crop development, the yield of the crop. Then you have the crop morphology, right? And basically all this, the document, it's tempering AI for its help in terms of growing autonomously in terms of this sector. So there was a good point there, because in order to understand the security implications of the AI in the food and agriculture sector, you need to understand how it's being embedded in this particular sector. So what AI does here, which we've seen in most of our customers, as we are a major MSSP provider, is that it takes a lot of data from the data nodes. So we are talking about telemetry data coming from IoT devices, SCADA, you name it. And what it does is it maps, it identifies, then it can try and predict and advise based on the quality of the yield of the product itself. So the main idea is for like all these companies that are in this particular sector to have like a fully improved efficiency overall. So right now I'm having a little bit of idea on how AI works in this sector, how it helps it, and we can draw a couple of conclusions how it also can be leveraged to protect this sector. So having access to such information, it can help not only us as an MSSP, but also, let's say, the folks on the production side, so the employees of that particular company, because it can instantly detect any suspicious behavior, any malware, any suspicious code, any scheduled task, anything that is happening on at least on a production line. So basically, it helps also the SOC. It pinpoints, it targets to our resources to do the investigation deeper, right? This is just an overall aspect of the AI in the food and agriculture industry and its implication in security for this case.
Yeah, it's a very interesting domain because like it's food and agri in particular, like it's not like a typical office job, or an office-based business. And like the SOC analysts, they have to like have particular skill sets. Maybe you could talk a little bit about like the human impact that AI has had and like how that has affected analyst workflows.
So here is your opening a Pandora box for us to discuss. Of course, we don't have sufficient time, unfortunately. I can start with an old example that I have in the 6 years of experience in SmartTech 24/7. So basically, you had a major company, which is in the food sector, for example. And this company, so every company is relying on a big supply chain, right? I'm just giving you right now an example. You are a dairy company and you produce the dairy products. So in order to produce those products, you need, for example, you need milk from another vendor. You need chemicals from another vendor. You understand the idea here, right? So there is a clear connection between third-party vendors and, for example, our customers, which are monitoring. And here comes the interesting part, because this particular company had, I think it was like 3 servers from one vendor. It was actually on site, on their site, and they had no idea that those servers existed. So when they were turned on, unfortunately, one had a ransomware on it. So this is the interesting part, because just imagine, our contractual obligations determined that we were not monitoring those assets, right? There were no EDR agents installed on those assets. There were no AV agents installed. There was no log coming from those assets. So even though they were not configured to be sent to us to observe and to analyze. So this was interesting, because what helped this customer was that the user behavior analytics rules, the machine learning rules. So overall, the AI itself was capable to understand via the traffic logs that something bad was happening there. It was pinpointing us that, hey, something is suspicious, but we have no idea what it is there. So unfortunately, we did not have any agreement in terms of I don't know, a response contract with this customer that we had. So unfortunately, we had to create a bridge call, to call these guys, to show them what we are detecting, because after the AI told us, hey, there is something behavioral happening there, we were able to dig deeper, analyze deeper. I would say that there were connections that were looking like a ransomware, propagation or a worm. And eventually, again, it was a WannaCry ransomware, an old ransomware, a legacy ransomware, but nevertheless, it was still there. It was in the customer environment. So that's one interesting side of the story, how it impacts our work. But then you have the other part, which is how it helps and how powerful it is to get all the data that we are pulling from these security solutions. So we are talking about EDR alerts, again, complex CM use cases, which are triggering alerts, and AI can take that. And basically what it does, we are adding, as a MSSP provider, we are adding AI over our playbooks for these cases. And basically the AI is able to leverage the full playbook that we currently have to do multiple correlation queries. So this is the most interesting part, because even if I'm having like 20 years of experience in a CM solution or in an EDR solution, it takes me, because I'm a human, it takes me time to write down the specific query. For example, you have log scale query, XQL, you name it. Each technology has its technology QL language, unfortunately. So it takes at least 5-10 minutes for a senior analyst to write the full query, and then you have some searches, you have some data, you analyze that data, and then you have to do another query and so on. While AI comes, it knows the query, and again, everything is happening in a split of a second, right? And it analyzes the data instantly. So what it does, we do not leverage AI to do the final actions, response, etc. We leverage mostly AI on our side to how should I say it, to pinpoint. This is, I think that's the correct term, to pinpoint our resources, target our resources. So, and this basically ends up in lower MTTs. We are talking about lower mean time to even to triage, to response, because in mean time to detect is debatable, because you are relying on the security technology itself. We are not relying on the AI there, even though AI it's being embedded in the use cases, in some way.
I think this also like really brings out like the importance of having this like 24/7, that the hackers are not going to, wait for business hours, they're not going to wait for your IT team to be like in the office and monitoring like that. You need that like SOC, you need that 24 like eyes on glass, viewing things and like being able to like, I think going that bit like above and beyond of, hey, we see something, it's not our responsibility, but we know there's a problem, we're smart, we know, like we understand this is something critical that like is going to like damage the company, and just like taking that action, being proactive, like taking responsibility and driving forward is like really kind of like the critical part of like delivering a cybersecurity service. So I think you and your team did a fantastic response in that specific example. We are almost out of time. We've covered a lot already, but maybe we could just like, what are maybe like some concrete things? What are the key takeaways that you want? If you were sitting with a customer right now, what are the key things, the kind of like roadmap items that you would give to them about the next steps and how to move forward?
So this is an interesting topic that you're mentioning here. Thank you for bringing that up. So first of all, to stay in our present days, let's say, in both technology, security, everything, you need to deploy AI. It's right now it's inevitable, right? But as a company within the food and agriculture sector, while doing this, you need to be very carefully, because you need to map all the AI use cases against all the regulatory and food safety requirements right now, because we are in EU, right? And and we need to make sure that like AI is very sensitive, even in terms of GDPR, because right now we have tools that are querying via APIs, ChatGPT, and for a company they are throwing back information saying that, hey, you have the employee XYZ, which put a lot of confidential PII information in a public AI, right? So you need to be very, very, I don't know, sensitive about that. Now, in terms of enhancing the security posture overall, what we've seen, unfortunately, is that AI is being leveraged a lot. So since the opening of ChatGPT, even the free version, we've seen an increase, an exponential growth in terms of script kiddies leveraging AI to create malicious code, etc. They are leveraging AI to create complex phishing attacks. So we've seen a huge increase in terms of, at least in the food and agriculture sector, the financial and accounting departments are very, very targeted with very complex. When I'm talking complex phishing attacks, I'm talking people which are leveraging AI to research upon the entire narrative of the supply chain for that particular company, and you're getting an email from supposedly a third-party vendor of yours saying, "Hey, we've just sent 10,000 gallons of milk to you, but we've changed the bank. So here's the new IBAN. So please send us the 50,000 euros to that particular account." And when you're looking as a financial guy and you don't have security background against that particular attack, you're like, okay, I'm looking on LinkedIn. This guy exists. It's working for those guys. I'm guessing it's quite okay. So we had cases in the past where such fraud occurred, and we are talking about not tens of thousands. We can even talk about millions in terms of transfer to another account, unfortunately. So I think that's the main issue, because phishing also is the first vector for ransomware, unfortunately. So I think, yeah, you can have 10 million euros invested in security tools, but you can have that John Doe which is pressing the hyperlink from an email, and he gets compromised, and this guy is, I don't know, an admin with full privileges. So
yeah. There was one question, interesting question, maybe that we're almost out of time, but just very quickly from the chat. So for cyber teams working in the agri industry, which AI tools should be prioritized to reduce risk?
Oh, this is interesting. So
well,
I don't know if I'm able to provide names, for example, but tools that are involving DSPM should be mandatory for you guys, because we are not only talking about PI information, we can also talk about company secrets that are being thrown on the web unknowingly by untechnical people. This is my main concern here.
No. Maybe I would give like two things. One is like it's very normal for companies to think about technical controls, so i.e. tools and technology. But like I would recommend that company has a more like holistic view of their entire estate, and not just think about the tools. Sure, tools are going to help, but really, like, you have to think about your process. You have to think about your people as well. Maybe I would recommend that SmartTech does this cyber security reviews for companies. This might be something, a good place to start, where you can do this kind of gap analysis to really get this insight of where you are, and kind of give this roadmap of like where you could improve, or what are the areas where you are perhaps not so strong. So this would be my recommendation for this answers, is maybe think a little bit higher of not necessarily thinking about a specific tool right now, of just making sure that you first fully understand the risk across your entire cybersecurity estate, and not just the solution that a specific tool can bring. Yeah, so we're pretty much out of time now. So thank you again, Andre, for your time today. Very interesting talk, as always, every time we get to talk. So much appreciate your input.
My pleasure, Robert.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.